that makes sense.
But yeah, no, I at first, though, when I was, I guess I wouldn't say when I was younger, because it was a few years ago, when it was canceled. And I read it, it kind of came off to me like, oh, so, like, are they just basically that, like, the stars of the show and stars the network, that's why it's complicated to say it, are they basically just annoyed about the piracy and they're not going to do more because, it, is obnoxious? Or, and I didn't really understand, because a lot of, around the time Ash vs. Evil Dead was canceled, there wasn't actually a ton of information available about, like, why it was canceled. Why wouldn't stars pick it up again? What did the main actors think about it and stuff? It was a little more vague, and that stuff's come out over the years, and yeah, he has talked about that. Like, he had to call or text directors of different of different episodes. And by the way, it wasn't always the same director, so, like, he had to deal with different people and be like, hey, I'm having a bad day physically, like, we have to do it, differently than this. I can't do it that way. And it was just, like, kind of it seemed like a hard and sort of awkward situation, along with the fact that he was trying to deliver on what fans wanted. And to be fair to him, it kind of seemed like fans had harassed him and Raimi about wanting Evil Dead back for years. Which,
yeah,
like,
and
I
then
get,
they didn't bother to pay for it, which was pretty bad.
Yeah, so to be fair, like, I guess that would make me mad, too. Like, it didn't... Now that I'm, like, looking back at it, and I've done a lot more research into Evil Dead stuff, because I'm much more into it now, like, I'd say it's probably up there as one of the, franchises I'm really hardcore a fan of. I think my interpretation of some of that stuff they said is different. Now, obviously, I don't know anyone, but it just kind of seems like it was hurtful, frustrating, and physically demanding.
Yeah, I think also Bruce probably, when he was talking about some of that stuff, it was probably after the fact the show had been canceled. So he was probably talking about how he was kind of, like, implying that he was very unhappy that it didn't get another season, even though it was physically demanding, because he loves the franchise.
Yeah, he gives a lot. I mean, he has given a lot to that franchise.
And I think it made him sad that, like, a lot of people kept asking for this one thing and then didn't go and watch it, because that happens to us with, like, Let's Plays. People will be like, why aren't you doing this Let's Play? Do this Let's Play. I want to see this. And then they won't watch it.
Yeah, I know. And that's, like, such a smaller thing. Like, imagine if this was, like, you had to record, for a year, and you were away from your family a lot of days, and you were older, and it was very hard on you, and you did all this stuff to bring back this thing that people, I don't want to say whined about, but, like, asked for years, like, hey, can I have this back? And then it felt like those people didn't show up.
Yeah, and it fell flat. I can completely understand how upsetting and frustrating that can be. And I don't blame him for being upset for a while about it. But, like, the thing is, he very obviously still loves the character. I mean, he came back for this game, and he's not, like, saying, oh, I'll never come back as the character. He's just saying he'd only want to come back in a voice acting role.
Which I think is completely fair. Like, I wouldn't expect Kevin Conroy to put on a Batman suit.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's just...
Or, like, Mark Hamill to put on a Joker suit.
Yeah, no, it's just like once you hit a certain point, there's so much you can do, and it's not an insult, it's just reality. I do think, a lot of these guys can be really active, but, like, imagine your grandpa, you know what I mean? Like, it's, even though that is probably the most active older person that we know, it's not like he'd be going and doing stunt work. You know what I mean? Like, he's an active guy, but that's actually an anomaly. A lot of older people
are not, yeah.
Yeah, they have a very hard time with that, and even when they are active, they're not jumping around completely like they were 20. It's just there's only so much you can force your body to do, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, my grandpa was actually telling me, oh, you can use an amulet and then pick that other one up, by the way.
I will.
My grandpa was actually telling me that he has the hard time remembering that he's old sometimes because, like, your brain still feels so young and your body's still catching up. And he's like, sometimes I just have to take a nap randomly. And I'm, like, thinking to myself, oh, I want to do this and this and this, but my body's just tired. And he...
we do that and we're only in our 20s.
That's true. And he was telling me how he doesn't want to take those stupid golf carts at the golf course because he wants to be an active person and walk all 18 holes because he doesn't want to be lazy. And I thought it was really funny.
It is really funny. I mean, people would have a better time if they were more active like that too, I think, or tried to maintain activity into their old age like he did. And my point too to that was like even guys like Bruce Campbell who do and you know, put their heart into stuff. You do have body limitations, you know, it's just what it is. I know even when he was younger, when they were young men and he recorded Evil Dead 2, he talked about how during that geyser scene when he basically shot a shotgun shell into the cabin, and I'm just trying to decide, I'm just going to do this here even though I don't have much fear, because I have 3 matches, I never use all of them. He was talking about how even during that scene, you know, all the red stuff that came out of the cabin, it was like when he blew his nose for like 2 weeks, red crap came out of his nose even. So, you know, I think a lot of people think, oh, poor movie star or poor TV star about all these people. They're like, oh, they make so much money, they have it so hard, and it's like...
It's still a job, just like anything else. Yeah,
I get that, but it is still a job, and, you know, some of them have very easy roles physically. Like, for example, the people on The Office, it's not like they were, you know, like John Krasinski, it's not like he was, like, running a marathon every day at work. Like, a lot of it was sitting, but you have to think, maybe he had back problems from that. You know, everybody has their limitations and issues that they get at work, whether you respect that or not. And, I think a lot of Evil Dead fans, when this show was canceled, and I will say me included to some extent, were just very upset by it because we were so excited that it had finally come back, and now it was gone.
I'd probably argue that the TV show was the best entry in the franchise by far.
I think it and Army of Darkness were both like up there on equal playing field. I mean, the difference is Army is like a cult classic movie, so I don't think Ash vs. Evil Dead will ever hit that because it's a show and it's just seen differently, but I think it's the same quality. You know, I just don't...
I'm really happy that we own it so I could watch it whenever I wanted to, because it's up there with one of my favorite shows, you know? Like, I loved that a lot, and it... I understand why it made a lot of people sad when it got canceled, but also... I mean, I know this is going to sound a little douchey. It was a lot of people's fault. Like, if you didn't want it to get canceled, you should have bought it.
I agree with you. I agree. Oh, no!
Oh.
Look, it's Amanda.
Oh, no. That is horrific.
I want this meat cleaver for a bit. Wait, remember they used Evil Ash used the meat cleaver. That's why they put the meat cleaver there. Do you remember afterward when Ash was going to chop her up before he did? He was like, I'm going to just take a peek at these beauties. Like, talking about her boobs. Yes, I do. Oh, jeez.
Hey, that's Scott. Isn't it?
Yeah. Let's take him out.
Weird timeline going on here.
Oh, no.
Did you see the Necronomicon on the table, by the way?
I'll look at it in a second. I was really thinking I was going to die there.
Oh, that's okay.
On the table.
Yeah, turn around.
Okay, there's the recorder.
And that's that amulet that belongs to Pablo, see?
Yeah, I think they all look like that. I just think we normally can't see it.
Oh, okay. Well, look on the table right there. See? That's the Necronomicon.
Oh, cool. Use the lost pages to complete the Necronomicon and defeat the forces of evil. Well, let's look around for a second first.
We used to have a Necronomicon prop, but
you made me get rid of it.
It looked really shitty, and it felt disgusting. It was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
I wish we hadn't gotten rid of it. It was the DVD collector's edition of Evil Dead 2. And Jill literally made me get rid of it.
It was gross.
She was like to me, it's gross, it has a rip on the side, it feels disgusting, it looks like it's staring at me. You can keep it if you really want to, but I wish you'd just get rid of it.
Well, I'd rather...
Hey, look at the evil...
That's funny. I thought that was supposed to be a deer.
Yeah, it's an evil deer.
Oh. Look. It looks kind of like a goat here. I was gonna say, I'd rather get, like, a more realistic one that looked like it was from the movies, because our one just looks like dollar store shit, no offense.
I know, but I want to collect, like, all these printings and stuff of, you know, the movies and everything.
I know, I'd just like to get the nice-looking ones. I don't want to get, like, the random crappy ones, I guess.
Bad take.
Sorry. I'd like to look for a Necronomicon and possibly even, like, an amulet that looks like Pablo's at some point and have them. I want good looking ones. I don't want ones that look kind of badly made.
Well, Chris has the one for Evil Dead 1, which is the same quality, but it's a different Necronomicon look, which is interesting. I know that, not Shout Factory, but what's it called? Oh, man.
Shit Factory?
No, I think it's called, like, I don't know. It's like a Halloween collectibles thing, and I should know the name of it because I bought my replica Michael Myers mask from it, but they made a Necronomicon prop. It's back ordered right now, so I don't even think if you put an order in that you'd even get it. I don't know.
It look good?
It does. It looks great. It even opens and it has pages and stuff. But
maybe
now
we should back order it.
Maybe it's being scalped for like $250 now, which sucks. So I was kind of looking at that and I was like, oh, it's like those Kingdom Hearts plates I wanted, where I just kind of feel like I missed it like a dumbass, and now I'm never gonna get it, which sucks.
Well, the thing is, we don't have enough money to buy absolutely everything that we want. I wish I could buy literally every single doll I see at the store.
But the difference is you have like over 100 dolls,
I know, but if we're talking about that, like you have lots and lots of collectibles too, and I think the sad thing is, we can't always get every single one that we want.
No, I want everything I want.
Because you wanted that Supergirl statue, and you always want to have more comics, and we like collecting movies and video games. And
to be fair, I buy the comics and a lot of my video games for the channel.
Hey, you don't have to justify it. I'm just saying.
No, I do have to.
I'm just saying, these things are kind of like my dolls, where there's something that we love and there's something that we want to collect too, and it's really hard because we aren't rich. We can't get every single thing. Like, how badly I want to get literally every single thing. Because, like, there's this awesome Cinderella Barbie doll that's, like, a lot of money that I would love to have, but I'll just never be able to have it because it's a lot of money,
Right. Did you see that the circle was moving?
Yeah, that was interesting. It's, like, closing in on you. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just a shame because it's hard having expensive hobbies and not making very much money.
Yeah.
But I think that'll be fixed eventually because... we try our best with our work, and I recently got 2 sales, because I got that one earlier this month from that one person on my Etsy, and then I got one today, and I was very excited about it, so I think things might start looking up for me.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. This sucks, by the way. I'm out of ammo.
That's that guy from Army of Darkness. Isn't that supposed to be Evil Ash?
Yeah, it is. It says awesome. Defeat Evil Ash in whatever seconds. Come on.
I like the fact that they turned Evil Ash into a trope.
Yeah, I know. That was a bit overdone.
I thought it was funny. I agree, though.
I don't know. I don't think I have a good enough weapon to beat him in 10 seconds. I don't know. Why'd they give you so little time for this?
I don't know. Are you gonna lose?
I think so.
You'll never beat Evil Ash without Lord Arthur's fabled sword. Luckily, it's nearby. Find it and finish this fool. I don't think you were supposed to beat him.
Well, good, because I
think you were supposed to lose.
Okay. Good. Because I was honestly kind of worried there.
Yeah, I think you were supposed to lose and be stressed out about it.
Well, yeah, I was stressed out because I thought the game was just going to make me not be able to finish.
Yeah, fuck you.
Alright. Fabled sword. Oh, my.
I was trying to play the 3rd mission on my own today. That one is so much harder than all of the other missions. Like, I played the 1st mission, the 2nd mission, and the 4th mission pretty much all by myself, and they were not easy, but way easier in comparison to that 3rd mission. It was honestly awful. I disliked the fact that it was timed, and I think that was the biggest problem for me, is I probably would have been able to do it better if it hadn't been timed and I wasn't trying to rush, because I knew from watching you play that at the end you have to be Elagos and it takes a lot of your time up. So I was trying to get through those waves of Deadites more quickly, and I just ended up continuing to just bleed out. Whereas if I'd have been able to take my time at the farmhouse and take my time with the waves and stuff, I think I would have been able to do it a lot better. I kind of think by far that's probably, in my opinion, the worst mission so far. I just really didn't like it at all. And I think I really didn't like it because it was timed, you know? I think if it wasn't timed, I would have been okay with it.
It was ridiculously balanced. You know, like, if you could even call it balanced, it felt just completely unbalanced, that level.
I kind of think they should have given you 5 more minutes if they were going to put so much stuff at the farmhouse place that you start at. Because if you just take your time and walk around there, you can find, like, 2 or 3 amulets, like, 2 more Shemp's Colas, a ton of ammo. I'm pretty sure you can find a weapon or 2.
Yep, you can. Yeah, you can find all of that. Sorry, I was getting really warm. I had a blanket on.
That's okay.
I was gonna take off. Oh, jeez.
But you only can really spend like a minute there before you leave, and the place is huge to walk around in.
Yeah, that one is pretty bad. I genuinely think that that's just not a well-balanced mission.
I agree.
I mean, this one hasn't been that bad. I did almost die, but it felt like it was my fault. Mm-hmm. Whereas, I don't know, on that mission, you almost die all the time, and it feels like it's the game's fault.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of not how you should feel playing the game.
Also, I kind of just felt like, since it was timed, it was relying on you to use the car. I felt like it wasn't a very good map to rely on the car's use because the roads are so twisty and turny.
Isn't that also the one where the car breaks?
Yeah, if you like hit 1 or 2 things, the car just completely breaks down. And same thing in Pablo's mission. You know, if you hit just 1 thing in Pablo's mission, the car's done for. At least in the other mission, you can hit probably 2 or 3 things before it is destroyed. But still, it's pretty bad. Pretty poor car makesmanship, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, at least, though, in Pablo's mission, it's not timed, so if you're on foot, who cares?
That's true.
Whereas, like, Ash's for Mission 3 is timed.
Yeah, you have to depend on that car for your life. Which is pretty ridiculous.
I actually do think that these missions have made me a lot better at the game, by the way.
Good!
Like, despite... I don't know if I'd say complaints, but, like, despite how hard they are... I would say earlier it was complaints. Now it's not as much for me, but...
I think they're all really fun, except for the 3rd mission.
And I actually even had fun on the 3rd mission, because I did it today and I did it in 1 try. And that's not to make you feel bad, because I know when people say... Like, when people are like, this is hard, and people are like, well, it wasn't hard for me. That's not what I mean, because it was hard for me the first time I did it. Mm-hmm. But then when I did it on yours...
you knew what you were doing.
Yeah, and it wasn't bad anymore for me that time. Like, I think I did almost die 1 time. That happens to me a lot. But overall, I was okay with how it was balanced and how I played it because I just didn't have as many issues this time.
I personally had fun on every mission except for the 3rd one, just because I still feel like that one's pretty badly balanced. And I think even though I know what to do on it now, if I go back to it, I still wouldn't be able to beat it because it's just not at my skill level. Well, and maybe that's a me problem, but I kind of felt like that one was just way harder than every other mission.
No, I do too. I do think it's poorly balanced. It's just that once I knew how to do it, I didn't have as many problems. But that doesn't make it better balanced. Mm-hmm. You know, that's the thing that I think a lot of people forget in gaming, and I don't know why they forget this, but I think a lot of people you can see online are very much of like the, well, you should just get good attitude, like the very dismissive, I can do it, why can't you? And I genuinely think that it's like, well, just because you can do it doesn't mean it was well designed or well balanced. Like, there are some things that I can do in games that are completely broken, stupid bullshit that, you know, just because I can do them, it doesn't necessarily change the fact that they are that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, and they needed to be fixed.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people just don't get that. I think they're very much like in the mindset of like, well, I can do it, so you should be able to as well, and I just don't think it works that way.
What are those guys with the flutes? What are they doing?
I don't know, they're flute players. They were in Army of Darkness. Militaries used to have them. Oh. I don't understand why the Deadites had them. Like, they seem like they had a lot more class in Army of Darkness, the medieval Deadites. They were a lot more classy and interesting, and now they're just like, I will swallow your soul. Hey, look, I'm gonna, like, torture you. Back then, they, you know, they had some interesting bits about them, like playing flutes.
Well, maybe
they were artsy.
Maybe they got a little fed up having to come into this modern day and follow Lord Arthur.
Maybe. Yeah, but I was just saying, like, these ones are more classy than the normal Deadites, like Henrietta. Well, Henrietta, I guess, is just possessed by the demon, but the normal Deadites are much less classy than Army of Darkness is. I think that's actually one of the things that makes Army so charming, is that everything about it is charming and silly while still being creepy. It actually reminds me a bit of Nightmare Before Christmas in that way.
Yeah.
Where it's like, everything has a lot of personality to it, and even background characters are memorable. Like, oh, that's fun when you see something. Whereas I think that Evil Dead 1 and 2 have, you know, I love them, but they were much more serious than that.
Why do you think that the Deadites were so different in the past?
I honestly have no idea. I mean, there's so many Lord Arthur's Sword Boy had the cushiest job at Castle Kandar. He had one job: don't lose the fabled sword. This generation has no work ethic.
That is really funny.
That is really funny.
Too bad you had a hard time reading that.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, Mr. English teacher.
It's late at night.
I'm just picking on you. I just like picking on you.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying it is late at night.
Oh, it's late at night. I had a tough day. I had a tummy ache.
I have a tough day every day. How does that make you feel? I don't know. You don't remember that from Army?
I don't know.
When Ash first gets there and Arthur's being a complete cuck to him, and he climbs out of the pit, you know, because they tried to execute Ash.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
He says to Arthur, "Your shoelace is untied," and Arthur looks down. Which is hilarious because, like, the joke is at that time they didn't have shoelaces.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't have even known what he was talking about to look down.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of people, I'm taking this legendary blunderbuss. It's cool.
It only has one bullet.
But
so you have to reload, and that annoys me.
Yeah, but so did the other thing I was using.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the crossbow.
Oh, that makes sense.
Well, anyway, there's a lot of charming personality to the humor of that film that I think really added to it for people.
I agree. I thought it was really good. I'd like to rewatch it.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite. I mean, I love all of them. I go back and forth on if I like Evil Dead 1 or 2 better, because on the one hand, I'm like, I like that Evil Dead 2 is a mix of seriousness and fun. But on the other hand, I'm like, it's also such an odd mix of seriousness and fun. Like, it's great, but it's, you know, 1 is so serious and 3 is so fun that 2 being kind of like both is sometimes a little odd on rewatches. I don't know if that makes sense. I think part of it too is just like
him going crazy.
Yeah, him going nuts. I mean, I think a lot of it too is justified in hindsight by people, whereas at the time some of those decisions were also just because they didn't have rights to Evil Dead 1. So, like, for example, you know, Ash, and Bruce Campbell talked about this in an interview, Ash, like, having the flashback of going into the cabin with Linda and stuff, that, you know, a lot of people, like, thought, like, oh, that's a retcon, you know, like, they don't show all his other friends that went to the cabin, but it was more just like, no, we just didn't hire 5 people to reshoot that beginning.
Yeah.
You know, so I think there's a lot of stuff in the series that people read into, like, oh, why did this happen? Why'd this happen? And some of it is just because it wasn't meant to be taken that seriously. And
because they didn't have a high budget.
They didn't have a high budget, and they didn't have the rights to their previous films. You know what's funny? They never made a film where they had the rights to their previous film. I looked through.
It's really sad.
And they literally never did. The closest they did to that was actually Ash vs. Evil Dead. Because they had the rights to Evil Dead 1 and 2.
And then they got the license to use some Army of Darkness references.
Yeah, way later.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they never made a film where they had, like, out of the Evil Dead franchise, where they had access, I guess I should say, to all of their previous work.
I think it's funny. But it's also sad.
It is funny.
I do like that Evil Dead 2 is kind of like the stepping stone for the evolution of Ash's character being who he became. though, and like the series becoming what it did with being funny but also evil sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean serious, not evil. Sorry. Well, I
No,
guess
the series is evil.
That makes sense.
It caused world tragedies.
That's true. It did.
No, some of it too is like also just. Bruce Campbell even has said, like, you know, it's not all meant to be looked into super analytically. Like, he likes when people do. Like, for example, they did you watch the interview with me where they asked him what the phrase meant from the Necronomicon? And he said, I don't know.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I was watching an Ash vs. Evil Dead interview, and the interviewer asked him, like, what does that phrase mean, whatever, Nicto? And they told him, like, did you know that, like, a whole documentary has been made trying to figure out, like, some of that stuff, like, from the first Evil Dead movie and what it meant? And he was
just made up words.
And he was like, oh, well, that's cool. Good for them. You know, like...
That is really funny.
He's, like, into the fan side of things and the projects and stuff, but, like, also, you know, to him and Sam Raimi, not every single little detail was something that all had a huge purpose.
Yeah, they just had fun.
Yeah, some of it did have a purpose, you know. Like, for example, did you know in Evil Dead 2, when he cuts his hand off, the book that he puts down, I believe, to hold down his hand is A Farewell to Arms?
Really?
Yeah.
That is really funny.
Arthur is home at Castle Kandar. Unfortunately, he's in the pit under Castle Kandar. Now only the pit deadite stands between the Lord and his vassals.
That's funny.
That's cool. I'm going to have a problem. I have 1 Shemps.
Oh.
I couldn't find any, so I'm going to do my best.
Oh, well, did you try getting good?
I did not. I don't believe in being... Oh, jeez, good at games.
That makes sense. Yeah, I don't know, I really like that the series is kind of just not super serious, I guess, in certain ways, but it also is in other ways. And I find it very funny that a lot of these things that weren't super thought out, like, fans kind of took and ran with, and then they asked Bruce about, and he was just like, yeah, sure. Probably.
I know, yeah, it is funny, because, like, I mean, they do care about the details of the franchise, but it just wasn't...
Something they thought about, some of these things.
Yeah, because, like, it's a movie, you know, like they've even said before, this stuff is for fun, you know? It was made to be fun and entertaining and interesting, and I think there are certainly people who put every single detail in writing and they know everything about their characters, but a lot of filmmakers are also just trying to have a good time.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, this is actually really difficult.
And I think all the movies are really good in their own ways, and I thought that Ash vs. Evil Dead brought the series together really well, because I like that they kind of mentioned, like, that he did go to the cabin with all his friends, that they weren't trying to retcon that out, and I like that he mentions, like, going to the past and stuff, and he just kind of brings all of the movies together.
Did you read this? Because I don't want to interrupt you.
Few men would have survived for this long, but it's not over. A king's work is never done. Now the true fight begins.
No, I agree with you. I mean, they do a great job kind of tying it all together with everything that they've made, and I think that, you know, there's a reason why it's such like a cult classic, these movies.
I really like that they explain kind of what happened too when he came back home after the cabin stuff. How people thought of him and if they believed him or not. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that was really well done. I thought so too. I mean, one thing I like about it is I know that this is like a controversial take for the original team that made the 3 movies, but I think it's really cool that there's so many timelines. Like, you have the Dynamite comics, you have the video game timelines, you have the official Sam Raimi timeline of Ash vs. Evil Dead happening.
The best timeline.
Well, yeah, but you know what? Like, there's a lot of good timelines. Yeah. That's what's weird about it and interesting. Oh, come on, man. If this guy kills me, I'm gonna be so upset because, like, I'm just not sure what you're supposed to do. There's also just a lot of fun stuff you can do with the series with,
you know, going different ways with it.
Oh, gosh, that was so hard.
Good job! Yay!
I got Lord
Huzzah!
Arthur. Mission accomplished. Huzzah! Lord Arthur is reunited with his people at last. He has delivered his kingdom from the terrors of the Deadites for now. That was the hardest. That was harder than Mission 3.